can forget US Airways Flight 1549? It struck a flock of geese, made an emergency landing in New York's Hudson River back in 2009. All of the 155 souls on board survived, and the pilot, Captain Chesley Sullenberger, became a national hero. The new movie Sully comes out this Thursday, and this morning we are talking to one of the local people that was on that plane. Casey Jones is from Jillington Creek. He has a crew of about 70 people who are going to see this movie on Thursday with him. Thank you for coming in to talk about this.
Glad to be here. Thank you. It's a great story.
It is a great story, and I want to hear your story to start off. Tell me about that day and what happened after you got on that flight.
You know, everything was normal, and about 90 seconds after takeoff, 100 seconds after takeoff, we hit the birds. And I'd flown hundreds of times prior to that. And there was a sound and a feeling that I'd never felt before on a plane. You hear noises, you feel things at times, but you can always explain them. This one you couldn't explain. It was loud and it was sudden, and we lost all of our acceleration as soon as the birds hit.
You heard the captain come over the intercom, and we even see this part in the trailer, so in the movie coming out, where he says, brace for impact. What we see right there, that man who was texting, that's exactly what you were trying to do.
I was trying to get my password in. My wife and son, who was 8 at the time, were on another plane at the exact same time. And I wanted to call them and leave the I love you message because I didn't know how this was going to end up. So I pulled out my phone and my hands were shaking too bad and I had a password on the phone and I couldn't get the password in. So I just put the phone back in my pocket, and at that point I just could only hope that they knew how much I loved them.
You did what they asked. You braced for impact. Then you hit the water, and you said it was like one emotion after the next because you thought this was it.
No idea what was going to happen because here we were in the most populated city in America. I know now that we were dropping at 3 times the normal rate of descent. We hit the water at about 150 miles an hour. Every time a plane hits, you always see fire. And I was looking out the window as we descended, looking to see when we hit, is there going to be fire? But instead it was just a wall of water that rushed by when we hit. And if you've seen the video when we hit, we kind of skid along and all that water comes by, and it was really loud. It was like pulling up to Niagara Falls and taking out earplugs. It was very, very loud, but there wasn't fire, thankfully.
Thankfully, and it's amazing that he was able to land it where he did. So you get out of the plane, and then we were just talking in the green room. Something I didn't know from reading some of the articles that you've done since 2009 in the talks. You can't swim.
I don't swim. I can get to the side of the pool in the deep end. Beyond that, not real well. So, when there we are sitting in the middle of the Hudson and got out onto the wing.
Can you see yourself in some of these pictures?
Yeah, and there I've got it circled right there. And, you get out on the wing, and I looked in both directions, and you can also see there's people in the water. Do I get in the water? Do I stay out? And so there was a lot of decisions to be made initially. And thankfully, I stayed on the wing, and everything worked out just fine.
So let's talk about this movie, because this movie is going to give us a different perspective that we haven't seen before.
It is.
Everybody looks at Sully as a hero, and if you haven't read his book, you don't know really a lot of what he went through in the days and weeks after this.
He did, and it's the NTSB's job to get to the bottom of any aviation accident. And so I'm certain that he and we all respect them for that. But knowing that he did absolutely everything he could, and then having it second-guessed for good reasons, of course, very difficult to go through. And I know he had talked to some passengers and had told them that he was very relieved when everything came back clean, and he was certainly found in the right. And I know he was in the right, and wonderful day, and has been ever since.
Now I know that you've read the books, you've been parts of a lot of interviews and talks, but when you see this trailer, does it give you a different feeling? Does it affect you differently than the things before?
Wow, it's powerful. I was sitting alone in the car when a new trailer came out that is very, very intense. And you see, we missed the George Washington Bridge by, I think, 600 feet. And you see the plane just kind of going over it, and all of a sudden it puts all those things back in your mind that you've known about and heard about. But at the time going through it, it was kind of that 3-foot sphere of influence. What do I need to do right now to survive the next minute? And so now seeing it actually on film and reliving it again, I guarantee there'll be some emotion there.
I'm sure. And you have a big group going.
We do. We got about 70 people headed down to IMAX on Thursday night, and I'm going to go over to Caddyshack afterwards and talk about it a little bit and have a great time.
So, and a lot of people don't know there's 3 survivors.
There's 3 here in Jacksonville. Carl Bazarian up in Fernandina Beach, and Don Jones, who's here in Jacksonville. And yeah, the 3 of us have gotten together a couple times since, and great guys. I wouldn't have known them without this, and certainly happy to have made their acquaintance.
And something else, you talk about this whenever you can. I mean, and it's still difficult for you to fly, even though you're flying less. I know that you were telling me that, so it's still very challenging, but you're really open to all questions because you want to share a point with people about this.
You know, my point is, if I can help you to get to the point in your life where I'm at now, where I see everything through rose-colored glasses. There's challenges, there's difficulties, there's emotions, but I'll tell you what, every day is a great day. It's fabulous to wake up in the morning and know, you know what, I've got another day, and I'm going to make the absolute best of it. It's one of the wonderful gifts, and I've gotten a lot of them from this that I've really enjoyed, and if I can share that and help people to get there, all day long, I'll be happy to do it.
Amen to that. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
to talk to us about this. All right, Bruce.